Yeah, so one very unique thing about UC San Diego was the major that I was in, because I was a data science major and not a whole lot of colleges offer that major. So a lot of the coursework that I dealt with was pretty specialized around data science and machine learning and components of the data science lifecycle. Aside from that, for opportunities outside the classroom, I was involved in a student-run startup, and UCSD actually had a couple of startup generators where they literally had students working with, let's say, UCSD alumni or other people, or let's say a combination of students working on projects, and they would kind of get space and perhaps even funding from sources around UCSD. And different kinds of students could volunteer to be in those startups and get a lot of practical experience. At the same time, UCSD is also like a research powerhouse, and they pretty much kind of do research on almost anything you can imagine is the way that I saw it. So if you have like varied interests, if you have very specific interests, there are a whole bunch of resources out there that can kind of help guide you towards the kinds of professors you want to work with. Even if you have like a very unique project that you want to explore yourself, UCSD also offers research scholarships with which you can kind of pitch your project and kind of show whatever you want to do, what the learning outcomes and goals would be. And I was also involved in a few research scholarship programs to explore particular projects with a professor mentor as well. So like being involved in startups, student orgs, research scholarships, and also being in that community and also having that unique major to also kind of to allow me, in my case, to specialize in whatever I wanted.
Probably sort of been so interested in, passionate about while in your senior upperclassmen years at UCSD. What is it that defines a machine learning engineer?
Yeah, thank you for having me. So in terms of the definition, honestly, the definition can vary depending upon industries and companies, because different companies can have different expectations towards a data scientist or a machine learning engineer. But the way that I understood it is that a machine learning engineer usually deals with building large-scale software and systems and infrastructure to augment and accelerate the overall data science machine learning lifecycle and accelerate the productivity and workflow of a data scientist. So in simple words, so a data scientist, let's say, analyzes data. And there's various steps to analyzing data in terms of cleaning, pre-processing, building models, doing predictions, drawing inferences. And machine learning engineering really kind of revolves around the software aspect of it, providing data scientists a scalable platform to do their experimentation and to kind of execute various components of that life cycle in a more seamless way, so that they can just worry about the actual analytical code and the analytical workflow rather than, let's say, getting bogged down by systems or software or scalability issues.
So while you were in university, there were projects that students typically end up doing, and transitioning from a data science major to then thinking about doing machine learning engineering projects. How did that happen? What opportunities did you grab? What internships played a role in making you choose this path?
Yeah, so there were predominantly two experiences that really kind of made me motivated towards ML engineering. The first was a research lab that I joined in my sophomore year. So I reached out to this professor that I was really interested in their work. I attended a lab tour, and I also kind of asked them if I could have a meeting with them, and I shared my profile. And ultimately, I kind of started volunteering in that research lab, where I worked around projects surrounding machine learning systems, which is kind of an emerging research area, which deals with building systems for to kind of accelerate large-scale machine learning and deep learning workflows. So that was a pretty distinctive experience from the experience I had previously, because my original experience was very data science heavy, and in here I was dealing with more of the lower level software and systemsy work that kind of powers data science workflows in general. So that got me pretty interested initially. And later on, I got an internship, which was on machine learning engineering, which was on a particular kind of machine learning workloads, and which was on optimizing those machine learning workloads using certain algorithms or approaches. So these were the two major experiences that kind of really made me motivated, because this would kind of have higher impact in terms of offering software and systems that could kind of accelerate a whole bunch of machine learning applications for a whole bunch of data scientists, potentially across a whole bunch of industries, solving a whole bunch of problems.
So if we kind of rewind a little bit, as a college student who's undecided, has got into a data science program or a computer science program, it's not very sort of common to discover sort of what you would end up doing in your first year, or even by the time you're in your second year. So what opportunities did you think, or what learning, what could be specific things students should know about the tools that they need to sort of master to become a machine learning engineer? Optimizing workflows is probably the output, and coming up with scalable solutions for data scientists is also perhaps the end goal. But as a regular data science student, a computer science student, what additionally do you have to study and practice to become an engineer?
Got it. So I'll kind of handle this in two parts. The first would be related to tools and things to learn. The second would be in terms of kind of how to get the learnings you want or getting opportunities. Because obviously, as college students, I really wouldn't expect them to know everything about a particular field. Machine learning is way too broad. There's various kinds of intersections in different kinds and classes of work. And it can be really open-ended and perhaps even overwhelming to people who are kind of deciding the kinds of projects that they want to do. So first part, related to tooling, there are, let's say, programming languages like Python, which are very popular for doing machine learning and data science work. I would, let's say, recommend students just starting out to perhaps utilize online websites. And I can kind of link those to you later on as well, but there are online websites like DataCamp, and there's also other websites like Coursera, edX, etc., that offer a lot of introductory machine learning courses, introductory programming courses. And aside from programming, knowing about fundamental machine learning concepts and statistics concepts is also pretty important. So knowing about the basic machine learning approaches, how they work, what assumptions they kind of have, why they kind of do, how they kind of do the things they do is pretty helpful. Knowing about the fundamentals would be pretty important. So those would be like some of the major tools or areas to focus on. It's kind of this combination of understanding how machine learning algorithms work and combining that with having the ability to program those models or to be able to utilize those models. And also a little bit of statistics and also a little bit of product sense on the side to kind of consider the context or domain of the problem while solving these things. This can definitely seem very overwhelming and a lot to unpack, which brings me to the second part, which is related to learnings. As I stated, I don't expect them to know everything. And so really the one major guiding principle I had towards my learnings was to, long story short, attend as many events as you possibly can.